Welcome to Matchday Madness Monday game week 10. So in this game week, other than Burnley and Spurs, every other side who hosted their opponent came out with a win. Then there's Forest, who were kind enough to share points with Manchester United. We also saw a few players finally get off the mark with their first goals of the season, and of course Mohamed Salah reached a milestone. He scored his 250th goal for Liverpool, and the manager was sacked after 45 days on the job. Then there's Arsenal on the other hand, who continue to set the pace at the top. Now they are sitting 6 points clear of second place. With all of this thing that has happened, let's just dive straight into how all the matches unfolded this weekend. So the first match on our list is Brighton versus Leeds. This match ended in a 3-0 victory for Brighton over Leeds at the Amex Stadium, which is Brighton's home. Brighton had a stand-up performance, but the top on the list were from Danny Welbeck and Diego Gomez. Now, their first clean sheet in a very long time. Welbeck is in the form of his life. He gave Brighton the first half opener, scoring his 6th goal in the last 5 league matches. Now, in the second half of the match, that was the 64th minute, Gomez doubled the lead and ended up scoring a brace. The 70th minute of the match, Leeds were struggling, man. They couldn't even piece a pass in the final third. This their underwhelming performance left them in 16th place on the table with 5 points clear of relegation. And next match is Burnley versus Arsenal. Arsenal extended their lead at top of the Premier League table. Gyökeres finally scored again, and their Clarice, of course, gave them their interesting 2-0 victory. The new striker, Gyökeres, he scored his 4th league goal of the season from our usual typical Arsenal set piece to get his teammates ready for more. Meanwhile, Declan Rice was very helpful in that opener in Gyökeres' goal, and he doubled their lead 10 minutes before the stoppage time of the first half with a very beautiful header, and he dedicated this goal sadly to his auntie who passed away before their game against Fulham. Now, the second half, Burnley attempted to put more pressure, but Arsenal looked a little bit more relaxed, but the thing was, they held on to the final whistle. So it is very good for us to know that Arsenal are not joking. In case you don't know, Arsenal have faced just 1 shot on target in their last 4 league matches, and that was against Crystal Palace. And now they've won their last 7 games across all competition, conceding 0 goals in all 7 matches. And special shout out to Trossard. He might not have been on this particular score sheet, but you can tell that he plays with so much passion for their badge. Arsenal have now won 5 straight Premier League matches, and they are 6 points over City, while Burnley are in 17th place and they are 3 points above relegation zone. Palace versus Brentford ended 2-0 victory, and the goals were from Arteta and Nathan Collins. Nathan Collins' own goal, of course, he scored against his own team. But this 2-0 victory takes Palace to 7th place, and now it finally ends Brentford's 2-game winning run. How the match unfolded: Arteta struck in the 30th minute of the opening of the match, and he has now scored his 6th league goal of the season, while Palace doubled their lead 6 minutes after the second half when a throw-in from Neme went straight into his own net by their captain Collins. Now Crystal Palace are flying high in 9th place, and Brentford are in 12th place with 13 points. Moving on is Fulham versus Wolves. Wolves ended a 3-0 victory for Fulham. Fulham trashed a 10-man Wolves to end their 4-match losing streak, leaving Wolves still searching for their first win of the season. Now, Sessegnon struck in the 9th minute at Craven Cottage. That was their first goal. And Wolves' night even got worse when their player, Emmanuel Agbado, was sent off at the first half for a last-man foul. Wilson doubled Fulham's lead, and Mosquera's own goal finally sealed the win. Now, this result leaves Wolves bottom of the table with only 2 points, while Fulham moved to 14th with 11 points. Now, their manager, Wolves manager Vitor Pereira, who signed a new deal lasting 2028, was sacked after a winless run. I wouldn't even blame them. This is a lot now. Moving on to Forest versus Manchester United, a 2-2 draw. Ahmad scored a very interesting volley to end Manchester United their 2-2 draw against Forest at Forest home, City Ground. I'd like to mention that before this match, United had lost their last 3 EPL matches against Forest. Now, they started off so well in the first half. Casemiro broke the deadlock in the 34th minute through a header. Now they are back in the second half. United struggled for a bit, but Forest, on the other hand, they improved. They got even more aggressive. They tightened up, and then there's Gibbs White and Savona who scored twice in less than 2 minutes to flip the match. All of this happened in the second half. But still, Ahmad now stepped up again in the 9th minute left to go towards the end of the match and gave United a point. Now, a win would have taken Manchester United to second place in English Premier League table, but the draw still moved them in. And Forest are in 18th place, 4 points behind Burnley. Oh God. Just look at this table. It's looking crazy. Spurs Chelsea ended in a 0-1 win. Joao Pedro scored the only goal of that match, and they won Spurs in Saturday's London derby. Now, Tottenham had the chance to go second with a win, but their defense was so bad, it was sloppy, it cost them. Caicedo now capitalized on a crazy mix-up and set up Joao Pedro for a beautiful finish in the 34th minute. Now, Chelsea controlled so much of the game, and they could have added more, but Vicario, Spurs keeper, made several beautiful saves. Now, this result has left Spurs in 4th and Chelsea in 5th, separated only by a goal difference. Meanwhile, after the match, Spence Van de Ven were very disrespectful to Thomas Frank, their manager. There was a video of the manager trying to speak to them, and they walked past him. Honestly, I think it's disrespectful, and players need to do better. I hate the fact that it's starting to look like players are getting really comfortable disrespecting their manager, their boss. We can do better, man. All of this can be resolved behind the scenes. I also hate when managers are disrespectful to their players. At the same time, I hate when players do the same thing to managers. We can do better. Moving on is Liverpool versus Aston Villa. This match ended in a 2-0 victory for Liverpool. Liverpool finally, they ended their 4-game losing run in the Premier League at Anfield. And guess who scored? It was Mo Salah, of course, who stole the show with his 250 goal for the club. Now, Villa nearly took the lead, like an early lead, when Morgan Rogers hit the post, giving Liverpool like a scare. But just before halftime, a mistake from Emiliano Martinez, their goalkeeper, gave Salah the chance to score, and he made no mistake. Of course, wanted to reach a milestone goal, and he matches Wayne Rooney's record for the most Premier League goal involvement in one club. Back in the second half, Liverpool looked even much more confident. Gravenberch, he's back from injury, and he made it 2-0 in the 58 minutes with a shot that deflected past Martinez. And that was it. Liverpool stayed in control comfortably until the end of the game. The win moves them to 3rd place, while Villa dropped to 11th with 3 points. Now, moving on to Sunday's fixtures. Both Sunday's fixtures ended in 3-1 victories for the home side. Now, West Ham versus Newcastle. This ended in a 3-1 win for West Ham. Nuno Espirito Santo finally wins his first match as West Ham's manager. And on the score sheet, we had Murphy, we had Pereira, we had Botman. Botman was an own goal. And we have Soucek. Yeah, that was it. That was all the people we had on the score sheet. Now, West Ham came from behind to beat Newcastle 3-1 at their London stadium. Their first home win in months. Jesus Christ. Now, Newcastle started fast. They took the lead in 4 minutes through Jacobs Murphy's finish. But West Ham slowly, they grew into the game and they equalized before halftime. And Paqueta found the back of the net. Now, the second half was tight until a defensive mistake cost Newcastle and gave West Ham the lead when Botman accidentally he turned the ball into their own net after like a little mix-up at the back. But in stoppage time, Thomas Soucek added a 3rd goal. He wanted to make sure that they sealed all 3 points. Big win for Nuno Espirito Santos. West Ham now moved up the table with this win to 18th place with 7 points, and they are 3 points behind Burnley, while Newcastle poor away performance still continues, and they're in 13th place with 12 points. Now, it will also be good to mention that Nuno Espirito Santo enjoys getting his first league win against Newcastle. When he was the manager of Forest, his first win was against Newcastle. Now he's a manager of West Ham. His first win is still against Newcastle. Now, for the last match I played out on Sunday, Manchester City versus Bournemouth ended again in a 3-1 win for Manchester City. Now, City returned to winning ways with a 3-1 victory over Bournemouth at the Etihad. They lost their last match against Aston Villa. Haaland gave them an early lead, but Tyler Adams responded quickly for Bournemouth after catching City off guard. But still, Manchester City did not panic. Haaland struck again just before halftime, and this time around with a strong header from a Phil Foden's cross. Now, Haaland won't stop scoring. He's like an anomaly. We have Semenyo, we have Thiago Igo. They're all having amazing season. Welbeck also is having a great season. But their difference in goal compared to Haaland is sick. Now, in the second half, Nico made it 3-1 with a very clean finish to seal the win for City. City controlled the game from there, and like they never looked like they were in trouble again. Also, Nico Gonzalez, who happens to look like Rodri's new interim replacement, has been a delight to watch. Doku and Foden, like Phil Foden on the other hand, also were incredible. But to me, Czechia takes the lead because 2 assists after I think 3 starts for Manchester City in the league. Pep might have gotten his close De Bruyne replacement or the perfect 10 he has been looking for his system. But can De Bruyne's replacement actually be found? No, never. I don't think so. But Czechia comes really close. Now, this win has taken Manchester City to 2nd place in English Premier League table with 19 points and Bournemouth to 4th place with 18 points. I think Matchweek 10 is taking the crown for me. Matchweek 10 looks like there was so many drama that happened in this particular game week. And that's a wrap on everything I have for you today. Interesting Premier League game week for me. Started off with Salah hitting a milestone, and then Westham finally getting their big win, and then Manchester City showing why they are Manchester City, and Arsenal showing us that they really want to stay on top until the very end. Serious club. Serious club. If you enjoy our Matchday Madness Monday, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next Matchday Madness Monday. Let me know in the comments which of this match or which of these moments in the Premier League this week stood out for you the most. With a general conversation, celebrate the game. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Like, subscribe, share.